Now let's move to the next important topic when handling a team conflict. So we say that team conflict is common occurrence in any collaborative environment. It arises from different opinions, priorities, values, let's say, or interests among the team members. So effectively managing conflict is essential to ensure that it does not, let's say, impact the team performance or morals. And let's take an example here. Let's say in a software development team, a conflict may arise between developers and testers over the bug reports and deadlines. So understanding team conflict is very important here. So as a definition, we can say that team conflict occurs when there are disagreement or clashes among the team members. The importance of having an effective team conflict resolutions strategies. Managing conflict is crucial for maintaining a productive and harmonious work environment. Here are the types of team conflicts. You have task conflict. The task conflict is disagreement about, let's say, the content and the outcomes of the task. The next type of team conflict is relationship conflict, and that is caused by personal incompatibilities among the team members. You also have this process conflict, and that is disagreement on how tasks should be accomplished. The other, let's say, type of conflicts may be in a relation with non-work activities, and that has to be dealt in a different way than the conflicts that is being, let's say, found based on the work or the project work. So understanding the types of conflict is the first step in managing these conflicts. The task conflict involves disagreement about the work itself. The relationship conflict stem from the personal issues, and the process conflict arises from differences on how the task should be completed. And let's take here an example. Let's say in an IT project, task conflict might occur over the choice of programming language or which tool to use, or in AI, there might be a conflict about which algorithm to use. And that type of, let's say, a task conflict, while process conflict could arise over the project management methodologies to handle that project. How to handle these, let's say, conflicts. But first, let me also emphasize on the causes of the team conflict, because this is a very important concept. We also may see some of these conflicts with causes of poor communication. Maybe there is no enough communication between these team members. Um, uh, that might cause one of these conflicts. Maybe they have different goals and priorities. If the project managers haven't cleared these priorities and goals to each of the team member, and how which is not also aligned with the project objectives. The resource allocation can be one of these conflicts when you, let's say, overload your team member and keep the other team members with no work. That could be one of also the the causes of the resource conflicts. Lastly, we say the personality clashes that we have discussed, which has no relation to the work, where it can need to be, let's say, dealt in a different way. It's also important to identify the root cause of that conflict, which is essential for resolving the conflict effectively. Now let's move and understand the strategies that you need to follow when let's say, having a conflict resolution or resolving a conflict between your team members. So this is very important slide that you need to understand to ensure that you have the correct and a suitable strategy to resolve a conflict. The first one is avoiding. Next one is accommodating. Then you have competing, compromising, and collaborating. So as we say that there are several strategies for resolving the conflict, including all of these five strategies, and each strategy has its own advantage and it's suitable for different solution. For example, when it comes to avoiding, so avoiding, it works like withdrawing or sidestepping the conflict to prevent an immediate, let's say, conflict. The next strategy here is that you need to accommodate. Accommodating is like prioritizing the other party needs and perspective over the ones who own that, let's say, conflict, and that is not effective when dealing with conflicts. So avoid using, avoiding is doing nothing about the conflict and keeping the conflict, let's say, active between the team, and that would for sure impact the project progress, the team moral, and it might, let's say, cause, let's say, bigger clashes between the team. That for sure is gonna impact the project. So you need to avoid, following this avoidance strategy, because it's not gonna solve the problem. It's gonna hide the problem for some time, but it's gonna make the problem more bigger. Also accommodating. So accommodating, you need also to avoid this accommodating strategy, because it, let's say, it favors a solution of a team member over the other without having, let's say, a reason behind prioritizing the other party, such as, having a strong evidence based, let's say, choose decision making where made based on data analytics, until less that if the other team member have seen that you have favored one team member solution over his, let's say, solution, that would also could make the other team member loses the trust on his solutions. The next one, or the next type you have here, is competing. So competing is, um, just taking um, the decision based on the most experienced person in the room. So, for example, if a new two juniors engineers were asked to resolve a conflict, and there is an senior engineer has suggested something. So, based on the senior engineer, let's say, feedback or decision, the juniors will take their decision based on the let's say the senior engineer, just following it without, understanding the reason behind of following that decision, without having enough analytics or enough data about how or, let's say, or why that decision were followed. That is called competing. But sometimes it's beneficial when there is no, let's say, enough data that you can build your decision based on. Also, it's good at the same time when you have, let's say, seniors who have, let's say, a better knowledge with less data to take a decision, so you go with competing. Compromising is finding a middle ground where both parties, let's say, partially satisfy their goals, and that is also one of the ways that you as a project manager, you need to avoid when dealing with conflict. So compromising, it does not solve the issue from its root cause. It just takes a part from that solution and takes part of that solution, where sometimes both of the solution aren't effective to the problem that you're trying to solve. So you need to consider the situation itself before taking half to half or when lose or when to win, scenarios, just to ensure that whatever solutions for that conflict is serving the project goals and needs. The best way here is collaborating, and collaborating is working together to find a mutually beneficial solution that fully satisfied all the parties. That is the best strategy that you may also always need to follow, And that is where you ask the team members to support their ideas about a certain tool or about a certain methodology to follow. So if your team is having a conflict about which methodology to use, so you encourage the team members to share their thoughts, to share, let's say, a data driven decisions to support the conflict itself, where you can see the strength, the weaknesses of each of these ideas, and then you convince both of the team members that we have gone with that, let's say, decision. It's because it serves it serves the project needs and goals. Then the data that you have collected and the decision that you have made is taken based on data and facts. Here is where you explain to the both of the team members that the goal here is not to win an argument, but it's to reach into a solution that it serves the project goals and objectives. So the team members would understand that this is not a personal preferences or not, let's say, favoring a party or over the other party. So they start, learning on how to resolve these conflicts and how to support their conflicts with enough data and evidences on to choose which one to serve the project goals. So this is very important for your exam. Try to see examples, try to explore these strategies and real world examples, so you can, let's say, feel comfortable when seeing a scenario based questions that is asking you which, let's say, strategy that you need to follow. But mostly always seek for the collaborating, let's say, strategy to resolve this issue between the team. Here is very important concept about the role of emotional intelligence in conflicts management. So emotional intelligence, or EI, plays a crucial role in managing conflict. It involves self-awareness, self-regulations, and social awareness and relationship management. High emotional intelligence team members understand and manage their emotions and their, let's say, and those of others, leading to a better conflict resolution. Let's take an example here. Let's say a project manager with a high emotional intelligence can effectively mediate a conflict between team members or solve a conflict between two team members by understanding their emotions and facilitating a constructive dialogue. The communication techniques for conflict resolution. So you need to have an effective communication techniques to ensure that you have a fair conflict resolution. So effective communication is a key to resolve conflicts. Techniques like such as active listening, let's say, open-ended questions, also being mindful for nonverbal communication and providing a constructive feedback can help in de-escalating the conflicts and promote understanding. So again, the key communication skills that you need to be following as a project manager is that you need to have an active listening, use open-ended questions, non-verbal communications, and constructive feedback from both of the team. And let's say an example here in a design team, using active listening and open-ended questions can help resolving a conflict over design choices by ensuring all of the perspective are heard and considered. How to prevent a team conflict? Preventing conflict is often more effective than resolving it. Strategies such as setting a clear expectations where all of the team has clarity on what to expect as the project goals is delivering. Also encouraging open communication so the team will feel they have been appreciated, all of their let's say ideas have been heard. Building a trust between the team is very important thing here. So the team, works towards one, let's say, goal of resolving an issue and serving the project goals itself. Also, providing a training can help preventing the conflicts from arising in the first place. So again, we said to prevent the team conflicts, start by having and establishing a clear expectation, ensures the team alignment with the project goals and objectives, encourage open communication, build the trust between your team members, and provide a training for, let's say, the team members who has a lack of, let's say, a certain skill in a certain area that is causing them to have difficulties in understanding certain things, how to implement these things. That sometimes it causes a conflict between them and the other team. So when they have this training, they will have more knowledge, and then they will be able to take better decision based on these trainings and the implementation of the knowledge that they have gained through the training. Now let's talk about an important topic here, which is leadership and conflict management. So leaders play a critical role on managing team conflict, and they can lead by example or mitigate the conflicts and promote a positive team culture and provide support to team members. So effective leadership can prevent conflicts and ensure that they are resolved constructively. And let's take an example here. Let's say if a team leader in an IT project can mediate a conflict between developers and tester by facilitating a meeting to discuss and resolve their differences. Now, to recap on whatever we have learned, let's say we say that managing team conflict is essential for maintaining a proactive and harmonious work environment. By understanding the types and causes of conflict, it helps you choose the effective resolution strategies, whether competing, collaborating, avoiding, whatever strategies that we have discussed. It need to be, let's say, aligned with the cause of the conflict and the type of the conflict. And leveraging emotional intelligence as a project manager and promoting open communication between your team can resolve conflicts constructively. Leaders play a crucial role in the process by setting the tone and providing support, ensuring that the team harmony keeps ongoing between the team members. If you need any more specific content or have a particular areas that you want to focus on, I really, let's say, emphasize let's say, I encourage you to explore some of these world case scenarios on how to manage the conflicts and see how the previous conflicts that has been managed, and that will give you, let's say, a better understanding on all of these conflict resolutions, since this is a very important topic for your PMP exam. And since all of these conflict resolution types, this will all help you, to build the knowledge, on how to handle the teams, and real world also at your PMP exam. And that knowledge will help you on how, to maintain the productivity within your team and harmony, leading to a better project outcomes.